Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from group 4. Today we are gonna tell you about parenchyma.
Parenchyma in plant is a tissue typical composed of living cells that are thin-walled, unspecialized in structure, and therefore adaptable, with differentiation to various functions. Parenchyma tissue is called ground tissue. Why is parenchyma tissue called ground tissue? Because parenchyma tissue is generally found in every part of the plant where there are other tissue in it.
These cells are found in many places throughout the plant bodies, and given that they are alive, are actively involved in photosynthesis, secretion, food storage, and other activities of plant life. Parenchyma tissue cells are thin-walled cells that form the interior of many non-woody plant structure, including stems, roots, and leaves. Parenchyma is also known to form the cortex or main pillar of the stem.
Parenchyma makes up the chloroplast-laden mesophyll, internal layers of leaves, and the cortex, outer layers, and pith, innermost layers of stems and roots. It also forms the soft tissues of roots. Cells of this type are also contained in xylem and phloem as transverse cells and as the bundle sheaths that surround the vascular strands. Parenchyma tissue may be compact or have extensive space between the cells. Parenchyma is one of the three main types of ground or fundamental tissue in plants, together with sclerenchyma that support tissues with thick walls and collenchyma, living support tissues with irregular walls.
The characteristics of parenchyma tissue are as follows. Living cells capable of division and that give rise to all other cell types, polygonal in shape and sometimes oval or spherical with an isodiametric symmetry. Has a length of 0.1 to 0.2 mm and a width of 0.01 to 0.05 mm. The cells are tightly packed or may have small intercellular spaces. The cell wall is usually thin and made of cellulose and hemicellulose, comprises of a centrally located large vacuole. They have a prominent nucleus and cytoplasm that holds other organelles in place. Structure and content of parenchymal tissue cells. The internal structure of the parenchyma varies according to its function. For example, parenchyma cells that play a role in photosynthesis by containing chloroplasts and forming parenchymal tissue in the mesophyll of leaves and cortex of stems. Parenchyma cells play a role in food storage in the form of vacuole solution, dissolved sugar and compounds in petals vulgaris roots, fluid plasma, proteins and oils in the endosperm of ricinus communicates, and crustaceans, starch in the endosperm, cotyledons, tubers, and fruit.
Functions. Based on their structure and location, parenchyma cells are classified into many different types, each performing specific functions as follows. Food production. Sclerenchyma, present in green parts of the plant, contain the green pigment chlorophyll that helps in food production by photosynthesis. Storage. Storage parenchyma contains large intercellular space which helps in the storage of starch, water, fats, and oil droplets. Transport. Vascular and conjunctive parenchyma helps in the transport of water, nutrients, and other substances throughout the plant. Gas exchange. Parenchyma absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen during the process of photosynthesis and respiration. Reproduction. Meristemic parenchyma divides and gives rise to all other cell types and is thus called totipotent cells. Regeneration. Meristematic parenchyma retain their ability to divide even on maturity and thus help in regeneration and healing a plant's wound. Strength and protection. Epidermal parenchyma present in plant organs helps them to provide mechanical strength and protection from any physical damage. Types of parenchyma tissue. Based on its function, parenchyma tissue is divided into 5 types, namely as follows. Parenchyma assimilation. Assimilated parenchyma is composed of cells that have abundant chloroplastids, so they are also called sclerenchyma, as in leaves. This tissue plays a role in the process of photosynthesis. Food parenchyma. The food parenchyma has amyloplastids that act as a storage place for food reserves. For example, in roots, namely tubers. Water parenchyma. Water parenchyma functions as a water storage network that is bound in the vacuole of its cells actively. For example, in succulent stems, namely cacti. Air parenchyma. Air parenchyma has large intercellular space that contain air. For example, in plant flotation devices and leaf stalks of Canna sp. Transport parenchyma. Transport parenchyma is composed of elongated cells located in the direction of transport, for example, in phloem and xylem.
Types of parenchyma tissue based on its shape. First, there's palisade parenchyma, elongated cylindrical or prismatic shape found in the palisade of the dicotyledon plants in general. The second one is sponge parenchyma, irregular shape, lots of space between cells, found in mesophyll of monocotyledon and spongy parenchyma of dicotyledon. Third, there are star parenchyma or actinenchyma. Parenchyma cells have arms so that the RAS is large and has a function to store air, according to the function called irregular, for example, in Canna sp and Jancus. The fourth, there are fold parenchyma. Parenchyma cells with cell walls folded inward and in cell containing lots of chloroplasts can carry out photosynthesis according to its function, including parenchyma assimilation, for example, in Pinus mercusi or Z. sativa. I think that's all. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.